So this video is going to teach you how to use the filter gallery. We did this in class this past week, and it occurred to me that I didn't have a video for this, so I figured I'd go ahead and just do a quick video for you so you can see how that filter gallery works. To me, it's one of the coolest features. I know I say that about a lot of Photoshop features, but I really love the photo gallery. I think it's just a cool thing to use. So I'm going to work with this image right here. It's a collage that I did called Waterworld. So I'm going to open this image. I think actually what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to change that. I'm going to go to Create New. I'm going to go to Print. I'm going to create we'll go with a letter size to start. I'm going to set it up as a landscape, and I'm going to call this Waterworld Collage Filter Gallery, because I'm going to take this image that I've created that I like a lot. I like it as it is, but I'm going to see what other unique creative things I can do to it. So I've got my document open. I'm not sure if this is going to be the right size or not, but for now it's fine. I am going to place embed. We're getting into place embedded. I think before I showed you how to open up a document and take your rectangular marquee and drag it over. That is certainly one way to bring over an image, and maybe just for fun I'll show you both ways so that you know that there's always more than one way to do things. Let me find my collage. This is what happens when you have a lot of files. Thankfully I'm somewhat organized, not completely, but somewhat organized. All right, so I've gone ahead and just opened up this image. So clearly this is one way for me to get this image and carry it over to what will be my filter gallery. So what I'll do is I'll go to this rectangular marquee. If you recall, we've been talking about the rectangular marquee tool. It's basically a selection tool. So when I click on it, I get these little cross hairs. I put them right on the left-hand corner. I drag all the way down to the right corner, and that allows me to select the entire image. All I then have to do is go to my Move tool, left click my mouse, and even though it's looking a little weird as it's dragging, it is dragging, and I will carry it up to my Waterworld Collage document, which is basically just a white piece of paper, and I'm just going to drop it. Doesn't really matter where it goes. Okay, now when I do this, it doesn't give me the automatic ability to scale it. So that means what I'm going to have to do is click on it. I'm going to have to go to Edit. I'm going to have to go to Transform, Scale, and from there I will size it to the size that I think I'd like it to be. And I think I'll go with that. So I brought the picture in that way for this one, but I'm actually going to bring it in again, and this time I'm going to bring it in by using Place Embedded. So this time, Place Embedded, find the same picture, Waterworld Collage, place. This time it places the picture directly onto my paper. I didn't have to go through all those other things, and I'm actually going to close out that picture from before. But the great part about using Place Embed is I don't have to go to scale because it's all ready to be scaled. And so I will shift it up here. I'm going to leave a little space between my artwork, just like a little white area, and I'll put this right here. So clearly my white paper is going to have to be larger, so I will go to my crop tool, which is over here, and I get these great little white bars where I can just drag. I go to the one on the right. I don't go to the corner because the picture is already laid out on the top corner, so it's already exactly the way I want it to be. It's only the right side that is not where I want it to be. I'm sure this is going to have to be enlarged. I'll know for sure how much after I copy this 2 more times. So I've got the same image twice. I've brought them in 2 different ways. I'm going to hit the move tool because, as I've told you before, that crop tool does not like to go away. So even though you click the check mark up here, it still feels like it's on hold and it wants to be ready to be used again. So just click that move tool and that will clear it away. So I'm going to click on one of my images. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to copy. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to paste. And I'm going to paste again because I want 2 of these. So it pasted them probably right on top of each other. So if you don't see your second paste, it's probably because the second paste is right where the first paste was. And see that pink line that's running across there? That tells me that these are completely lined up. And if you want to check your others just to make sure they're completely lined up, you can just look for that pink line. When you see the pink line, you know you nailed it. Okay? So there's my 4 images. And I'm going to have to stretch it out a little bit here on the bottom, just a little bit. All right, check, move tool. Again, I want to get away from that crop tool once I've used it. All right, I'm going to reduce this in size a little bit so that you can see what I have here. So I love the filter gallery. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on layer 1. I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to filter gallery. Now, the only reason this is going to work, whoops, I want the whole menu, sorry. The only reason this is going to work is because I am working with JPEGs right now. JPEGs are simply one layer. If you find that you try to use the filter gallery and it's not working for you, if it opens up and you see a white space here, then here's what has happened. You are working with a Photoshop document and you probably have a bunch of layers in here. The filter gallery can only work with a single layer. So that's why it needs to be in a raster format, in a 1-layer format. So just keep that in mind. And if for some reason you were working on a project and you were doing the whole thing and you simply wanted to use the filter gallery, you didn't want to have to save it once and then save it as a JPEG and then go use your filter gallery, you would go to layer, which I can't do at the moment. Let me show you. Let's just say that this was a bunch of layers and I had adjustments and all kinds of things and it wasn't going to let me do what I needed to do. I would simply go to layer, and then where it says flatten image, I would click flatten image, and then it would turn this into one single flat image. And then I would be able to use the filter gallery. So if you ever come across that, you're working, you've got this great design, but you want to do more to it, you want that filter gallery, go to flatten image, and it now becomes a single layer. Only problem is you can't go back. So if you're not sure you want to make that change, then I always suggest saving a version 1 and a version 2. You can never have too many versions of things. It's just a good habit to get into. All right, so this first one here, filter gallery. It's already set for, let's see, it's set for watercolor, okay? I can see because it's grayed. I'm going to reduce the size of it so you can see it a little better. Or maybe better yet, I'll increase the size and I'll increase the whole menu so that you can see see it clearly this way. Okay, so it's currently set on watercolor, but let's just scroll through what our options are. Colored pencil. Every single menu or every single option comes with its own menu. So when I click on colored pencil, guess what? There's a whole lot more than just colored pencil. There's a whole lot of other things here. Base relief, let's see, lots and lots of options. It actually is giving me options that I can see elsewhere. But I'm gonna go back to colored pencil just to keep it on. I wonder, charcoal, let's see how it looks with charcoal. Nah, don't really care for that too much. So I'll go back to colored pencil. But you can change the width of your colored pencil. You can change the stroke pressure, the paper brightness. Okay, so you can get some really interesting effects. This one's actually not too bad. I like it when the paper's a little brighter. It has a very soft feel to it. I might adjust, yep, I'm going to adjust the stroke pressure a little bit. Okay, so that has an interesting look to me. I might just go ahead and keep it. To keep it, I click OK. Okay? But if you're not sure, don't click OK. Just keep scrolling. This is what I get when I choose Cutout. So it has this look of like paper being cut out. If I lower the levels, I get less. It becomes more graphic looking. I kind of really like this edge simplicity. Let's see. Now, when I reduce it, you can see here it is extremely simple, and it really loses a lot of what I wanted it to have. This, on the other hand, I kind of like. So I'm going to adjust a little bit. This is called the edge fidelity. And some of these things are just very, very tiny nuances in terms of how things are going to look. I kind of like this, so I'm going to click OK. So my first image has been changed with the photo gallery, and if you look closely, you can see how different it is from my original. Now, the other thing I can do to this is I can still make color adjustments to it and things like that. So the artistic style that I've added to it will stay, but I can always change colors, and I'll show you how to do that next. So I'm going to click on my next image, make sure it's highlighted there, go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and it's currently set on Cutout because that was the last thing I used. I'm going to try some other options though. Film grain, kind of interesting, makes things very, very bright. If I increase the film grain, you can see that there does appear to be a very grainy look to it. I can increase the highlights. The intensity is set pretty high at the moment. I can reduce that. Kind of has an interesting look when I lower the intensity. What I'm going to do is, rather than me kind of going through all of these things, I just want to really quick show you what happens when you try these different options. This is fresco, neon glow, paint daubs, palette knife, and you can see how interesting that looks. It does look like a painting, other than the lettering. The lettering sort of plastic wrap is a very odd look. It's not one of my favorites, but it's certainly an option. We've done poster edges before. I love this version of poster edges, so I know that you can use posterize in your adjustments, but I really prefer using poster edges here because not only do you get the different colors, but it sometimes gives you these really cool edges, which I like. I love the black lines that show up. I think it gives it a really artistic feel. So I'm going to keep this one. So now I've got this one and this one. I'm going to go to my third image. Again, filter, filter gallery. Let's see where I left off. I left off with poster edges. There's rough pastels. That looks blurry to me. Smudge stick doesn't interest me. Sponge is interesting. I think sponge can be kind of a cool thing, and again, I can make lots of adjustments to the sponge size, how much definition there is. This has kind of a cool effect to it. Smoothness, I don't think I'm going to want it smooth. I like the texture, so I'm going to go back down because I prefer that texture. So I'm going to keep this one too. And then my last one, I will go ahead, hit filter gallery. I'm far from being done in terms of options here. I know that it looks like I'm almost done, but in fact, I'm only just beginning. Underpainting and everything that goes with that. Watercolor, this was where we started out. I've always loved watercolor, one of my favorites. You can then go down to different brush strokes, you can go to angled strokes, you can go to crosshatch. What I love about this is you can literally sit here and go through them one by one and decide what you like. I really like this. I don't know why. The ink outlines, I just love it. It has that printmaking look effect to it, so I kind of like that. I might end up going with that. Sprayed strokes, Sumi's just like a type of oriental painting. Diffuse glow, maybe you like something like that. Glass, ocean ripple. Move into the next folder. Now we're getting into base relief, chalk and charcoal, more charcoal. These are all going to be black and white variations. I'm not really keen on the black and white variations. This could be interesting if I wanted this to say be a coloring page or something. Let's say you come up with this design and you're thinking it would be very cool to turn this into a coloring page for, children. This could be an interesting way to go about doing that. So definitely would not go with a high degree of smoothness though. Water paper looks something like that. So far, I think, what did I say I liked? Ink outlines. Okay, we have stylized. There's only one option for stylized. I don't tend to use this that much, but you might like it. Texture is the final folder, and let's see what's in texture. Craquelure, and you can see how each of this picture has a very crackled look, and of course you can increase the crackle in it by increasing the spacing. You can strengthen the depth of the cracks so it looks something like that. This is kind of an interesting one, I guess. When you make the changes to it, I think it begins to take on an interesting look. Like this, I think, is sort of interesting. But again, we have grain, we have mosaic tiles, we have patchwork, we have stained glass, and we have texturizer. Stained glass is pretty interesting. But what did I say? I kind of said I liked craquelure, and then I also liked Sumi. So I'm going to make my decision between one of these. Sumi, I think was it Sumi? No, it was ink outlines. So my option is between ink outlines and craquelure, and you can see they are extremely different from one another. This one almost looks like a painting that was done on like maybe a ceiling tile or something, because you see those tiny little cracks in it. It's hard being indecisive. That's probably one of the hardest parts about working with Photoshop, is that you have to make decisions. So I'll go with the craquelure just because I don't think I've used that one a whole lot. And so I've got these 4 different galleries, these 4 different filters going from my filter gallery, but I'm going to make one more change to each of them. I'm going to go to my layer, I'm going to go to new layer adjustment, and I'm going to change colors. So when I go to hue saturation, this one, I'm going to give it, this one's going to have some purples. I like the purple and green effect, and I might brighten it up just a little bit. This one, I'm going to possibly, I'll just leave this one with the color scheme it has. This one, I'll go to new adjustment layer, hue saturation again, and we'll see what we can do. The coloring here, maybe this time I'll go into some blues, so that blue-green look. And here I'll go to, oops, lost my arrow, go to layer, new adjustment layer, hue saturation, use previous layer to create clipping mask. And where will we go this time? Okay, we've already gone in different directions here. I might not want it to be, maybe what I'll do with this one is instead of using master, I'll just focus on the blues themselves. And I will just change those blues to something slightly different. So I'll go in that direction. So now I'm basically finished, and I've got 4 different variations here. I've used filter and filter gallery, and of course it's not lighting up for me right now because I haven't selected anything, but my piece is done. I'll go to File, I'll go to Save on your computer. You're going to make sure yours gets saved to your Photoshop assignments. Okay, mine's going to get saved to Collage. Save it as a JPEG. Okay, and all you got to do is when you hit Save As, just make sure you scroll down to JPEG, Save, okay, and now you have it saved, and you can download it to your Google Classroom. Okay. So good luck with that. Have fun. This is really, like I said, one of my favorite things to do using Photoshop. All right, enjoy.